So, what I will say is that this project began as RA06, the privacy project, and it has now evolved. And we've given it a name because RA06 is not very exciting or relatable. So, I don't know, perhaps CLIO-X, which is the name that we've given it, is also not very exciting and relatable, but it's maybe easier to say. I don't know. So we're calling it CLIO-X. It started off looking at privacy, and it was a kind of a diversion from looking at techniques that identify sensitive or personal information, and how sensitivity reviews were being done in archives, to turn the problem on its head and say, well, what if we treated everything as private and sensitive in archives, and we applied privacy enhancing technologies? And now it's even expanded beyond that. So that initial research question was the inspiration for CLIO-X, but we feel CLIO-X now is has a kind of a broader mission. And just to say that we still have our two graduate research assistants, Gonse Malosiwa, she goes by the name of Faith, and Yi King Shao, who goes by the name of Chris. And we are also collaborating with researchers in Spain at University of Lleida and the Distance University of Spain, as well as we have a collaborating researcher here at UBC, David Wang. So as I mentioned, we've kind of gone beyond the initial question because we were starting to see from discussions that we were having with people that really what the issue is a broader need for a fair data economy, and something that actually supports the use of AI in alignment with the Data Act in the EU and other principles of ethical use of AI that we have been exploring more broadly in Inter Pares. So this is just, a slide that kind of says, yay, everything's great. We've got all these opportunities with AI, but where we're now sort of positioning this platform that we're developing is more in, as I say, the fair data economy, looking at ethical applications of AI. So even though it started with concerns about privacy and protecting archival data against the threat of data leakage and violations of privacy from AI, we also feel there's potential now to more broadly position what we're doing in terms of preventing bias and discrimination, copyright violations, data monopolies and power concentration, lack of transparency and explainability in AI, negative environmental and social impacts of AI, and non-compliance with a growing number of regulations. So, and this is, I think, becoming more and more urgent in the context of developing AI. So that's what CLIO-X is aiming to achieve. And we believe that the platform has the capability to do this. We right now we already have a number of features that align with the fair data economy and ethical use of AI, and we'll continue to develop those features. The only one that we don't have yet, it's still just in the visioning stage, is sustainability and responsible data use from an environmental standpoint. And we are planning to build in carbon offset accounting for the computing that the platform would use. So we do have a vision for a path forward, but it's further down the development path because we have quite a long way to go, but we do have some basic capabilities. Transparency and trustworthiness is brought to us by the smart contracts that we're using, because the platform is leveraging blockchain, the traceability of blockchain technology. It uses a compute to data framework. So rather than having the data visit and be centralized where algorithms can compute over the data, we are using federated machine learning. So the algorithms visit the data. The computing for the compute to data is handled by trusted execution environments, which are secure environments for the algorithms to compute over the data. Um, because the underlying technology that we've built on, which is open source, it's all open source, is compliant with the European Union's CLIO-X identity framework. We're compliant with that, which is a benefit. And other, oh, let's see a little typo there. Sorry about that. Other sector specific and open and interoperable standards. For equitable value distribution, because we're again using blockchain technology and smart contracts, there's an opportunity to return value and payments back out to archives that are participating archives. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then also because of traceability, we can deal with intellectual property, copyright, and fair attribution. Ethical data processing in AI is again handled by the blockchain, and the blockchain supports decentralized governance and community ownership, which is really, really important. So not ownership by a central company, a private company, but decentralized ownership by a collectivity of participating archives. And yeah, and then the privacy preserving piece of it, which is which we were originally motivated by, uses some of the techniques that I discussed in the paper previously published with our former GRA, John Werner, compute to data, trusted execution environments. And we are using a privacy preserving blockchain where the smart contracts are privacy preserving. And if anybody's interested, it's the Oasis blockchain. So we've got quite a few work streams now. So this project's kind of growing. So we've got a work stream on user experience and user interface design, which is being led by Faith. She's a master's of library and information study science student at the iSchool at UBC, and she is interested in user experience and user interface design. And she's taken courses with other faculty at the school in that. So she's been able to use this project in her coursework, which is really great. And so we have been running focus groups. We had our first focus group. We have had real challenges in recruiting for our focus groups and also scheduling the focus groups. So right now, what we've decided to do, we're still doing recruiting for the focus groups, but we're actually having more success just talking to people individually and getting feedback in one-on-one. But if we can combine a few people, then we're kind of doing that a bit more organically than trying to arrange big focus groups. And we've done the transcript of the first focus group, and we learned a lot from that focus group. It was really, really enlightening. And then the individual conversations that we're having with people as we socialize what we've developed, we're also really getting good feedback on. And of course, you know, we continue to want to refine the idea and the development of this platform along those lines. And then we've also set up in the blockchain lab at UBC, we have now servers running in the lab for this, for the platform. We've set up a GitHub site, still in development. We haven't released any code to that site yet because we're still we're actively doing some work that we just want to wait till the code's a little bit more settled. And we've been we initially worked with a numerical data set, but we found that that wasn't very relatable for the archivists that we were talking to. So we're now just using the Enron open source email set, which is, emails are something, a typical form of a digital record that would be held in an archives that may contain, for example, personal information and so on. So we're just using that to experiment with. We can do exploratory data analysis, so basic structure of the data set. And we're working now on our first developing the clustering algorithm and our first word cloud visualization. So we've got a prototype of that in a centralized fashion, and we're now working on how we're going to do that in a federated fashion. I'd hope to have a little video demo of what we've done with that, but I'm traveling right now. So I'm I'm in the opposite side of the world from where I normally am. And Chris, who would normally do the demonstration, is on a ski-boarding trip because it's reading week. So I'm visiting Sasha. Some of you know Sasha, my daughter, at university right now, take advantage of reading week. So we don't have that ready, but we will have it ready for, for if you're interested in attending an information session, as on your own or as part of a focus group, we'll show you that. So yeah, we had to do some analysis of whether we would start building on Polygon versus the Oasis um, for the federated machine learning portion of this. And so we really had to do a deep dive down into both of these blockchains. We have now decided that yes, we're going to go with Oasis. So it is more reliant on trusted execution environments. There are pros and cons versus zero knowledge proof cryptography. But we, in the long run, felt that it was the right direction because it is very privacy preserving. And so we've stuck with that choice. We continue to try to explore additional sources of funding for this project because it's really growing. And we think that we're not going to be able to, we're going to run out of steam with our two GRAs. And yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. And if we really want to execute on our vision, we need additional funding. So we did apply for a SSHRC Destinations Horizon grant. We did not receive it. It was a kind of a weird lottery type of situation, and we didn't win the lottery, rather than being based on, a committee evaluating the grants. But there's another opportunity to enter that lottery in May. We'll also look at SSHRC Connection grants. We continue to explore Horizon funding, another source of funding, and we are maybe even looking at a SSHRC partnership grant for this in the long run, which would be of a similar, horizon and SSHRC partnership, very large grants. Maybe a SSHRC development grant. We're still quite small. I don't know. In terms of community building, so the University of Lleida Archives is participating. I don't know, some of you may know Pepita Ravenos. And then also we have had discussions with the National Archives, the National Archivist of Cameroon, and Esther Olembe, and this has been referred to the Ministry of the Interior now for approval because we are in discussions about a memorandum of understanding. Now, we wouldn't be working with their personal or sensitive data. We will, in all cases, start with non-sensitive open data because we cannot guarantee the level of protection until we actually fully implement. We do penetration testing. We do the privacy impact analysis and so on. And we are also in discussion with a potential collaboration with the National Archives of Ghana. So at this point, I would really like to see more archives participating. I think that's where we need to go. We need to get real life examples, real life data, and move forward. And then we're doing some dissemination, Marburg symposium at the end of May. We put in an ICA proposal. Once we have some more focus group or individual interview data, we will submit a follow-up paper to our earlier paper for JOCCH. So I'm not going to go over these videos. Some of you there's nothing new in these videos from the last time I presented. But just to kind of like highlight this slide, we see ourselves as potentially a competitor to Ancestry. And why do I say that? I guess not specifically Ancestry, but this kind of these centralized private companies that have digitized a lot of archival data and made it available, made very nice interfaces available and features, yes, which have added value. But we think we can do that, but in a way that returns back to the archival community collectively. So we are experimenting with a Web3 business model. And so how would we create value for the community? So when data is uploaded, archives can offer it for free. But let's say, there's an AI model that wants to train on the data, or there's a commercial use for that data. Maybe they would want to charge for that data. And so that those charges can return back to the archives. Similarly, by uploading algorithms that companies or entities use. And then also the larger archives might be able to offer computing infrastructure, which they then rent out to smaller community archives. And in the back of my mind is, seeing this as a way to perhaps support community archives, which are often quite fragile, don't have the computing infrastructure, don't have the computing expertise, and so on. And then possibly there's an opportunity for custom algorithm development, and then data integration and document preparation. So this is what we're hoping. We are, as I say, looking for contributors. So like join us in this project. There's lots of scope, definitely to leverage the excellent research that's been done so far, an ethical application of AI and possibly deploying some of the AI algorithms and work that's been done through Interpares, using CLIO-X. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. And so I'll stop there and I'll take questions now.